Hello, and welcome to the end of the year special, My Life as a Video Game. This is technically a Shilling podcast. It is, of course, also a special. It will be replete with some throat clearing, probably some stomach growls as well, a little bit of squeaky chair. There we go. And is just going to be very, very plain and very normal. So, the premise behind this is that if I were to actually say thank you and how happy you make me in a real way, I would never get through it. I would break down crying. Just thinking about it is fairly difficult. I wanted to do it though, so I came up with a kind of idea. And the idea is I'm not going to talk about myself. I just can't seem to do it. Instead, I'm going to talk about a little video game, a little RPG. And the hero, the protagonist of this game, is just happens to be a knight. Not a particularly good knight or capable knight, just a knight. In fact, as I was writing this, a number of times I realized I was thinking back to one of the early Dragon Warrior, I guess now Dragon Quest games. And in one of the chapters of this game, you play a knight. And the very beginning, the king gives you your quest. But unlike games at the time, which were totally and absolutely centered around you and your avatar, there's a bunch of other knights in the room. And they all go running off. And of course, you meet them over the course of this quest. But they're all raring to go. And you and one other knight stay behind, essentially, because you're controlling the character. And the other knight says, see, these guys all ran off. But you and I, we're the smart ones. We're going to prepare. And that's why one of us is going to save the princess. I can't actually remember if it saved the princess. This is back in the good old days of the NES, so I feel like it kind of has to be, but there it is. Before I open with the prologue, now that I've explained the premise and feel very silly, I do want to just take care of the one thing that I want to start really including in every Shilling audio, and I've been a little bit remiss in my apologies. I want to say thank you to the top 5 listeners. This is typically of the week, but this is the top 5 listeners as of right now, of all time. So, thank you very much. Suel Stewart, thank you. EK Love, thank you. Sound Lover, Julie, thank you. User 5133000679, who I affectionately have dubbed Jamie Bond, because 006 is in there, thank you. And Smooth Thriller 16, thank you. Thank you for finding me, listening to me. I imagine spreading the gospel in some way. But no matter what, thank you. Thank you for listening to me. All right, so let's get into the prologue. When I was a lot younger, I played a game on the SNES. It was kind of a lost genre, an action puzzle game RPG. They were very popular back in this era, and they just don't seem to exist anymore. These games, because they were so common, they all kind of had to have a selling point, because you couldn't just combine those words, they were everywhere. You had to make an elevator pitch on the back of your box, on the front of your instruction booklet, that said, here's why you should play this one. Keep in mind, there's no real video game journalism at this point. GameFAQs is totally unreliable. It doesn't really exist. On the AOL network, behind that paywall, there was something called Antagonist, and it was just awful. So video game journalism, as it were, or advertising, just didn't exist. Occasionally, for a super big game from a super big studio, you would see something, but most of the time, you just looked at the back of the box and looked at the genres and said yes, no, and then you risked it. This this particular game, it sold itself by saying there's over 100 doors to open in this game. I don't remember exactly how it put it, but there's over 100 doors to open in this game. And of course, if you're prepubescent, 100 might as well be 10,000, right? Such a big number. It's such a big number. And it's a puzzle game, it's an RPG. This must be a huge game. I can't wait to play this game. And here's the great thing about it once I started playing it. Because I kind of thought, oh, like every room there's a door, and then we figure it out. The point of the game was not even to open doors. You're progressing through the game, and there's lots of doors, sure. But there was a kind of magic about realizing, oh, that's not the point of this game. It's not 100 rooms, it's 100 doors. There's corridors and hallways and courtyards, all of them without doors to open, all of them without locked doors. So I'm playing this game for a little while, and I'm killing monsters, and I am gaining in strength. I don't recall this game having an experience system. It was one of those where you just effectively leveled up through new items. You got more powerful items, and that was a de facto level up. But I do remember gaining in power quite a bit, and of course that thrill. That first little hit of crack cocaine when you get your first accessory. Oh, that's such a nice feeling in every RPG. You know, that slot's barren and empty, and, you know, no matter what, you just get to plop it on in, you get a perk. Yeah, it's a real good feeling. So I'm making progress, and I'm opening doors, not counting as I'm going. I said I would. I remember saying I would, and then of course I did not. But every door I meet, I can unlock. I can unlock pretty simply, actually. Kill all the enemies in the room. Of course, this is a post-Zelda world. Sometimes find a key. There's lots of different ways to open these doors. But I get to, without a doubt, the biggest, most ornate door in this particular setting. And, of course, I go up and I press the action button, and a simple message appears. You cannot open this door yet. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else at all is written. So there's no explanation. There's no information. There's just a door, and you can't open it. You can't open it yet. So of course you want to even more. My life, and I'll get into how I felt at the end of last year in a minute, but my life as a creative and a creator and a writer, whatever you want to call it, it just felt like it was this endless loop of backtracking and coming back around and seeing that door. And every other door opened. If I put enough energy into opening up the degree door, it opened. And if I put enough into the relationship door, I had a relationship that worked. But when it comes to being a creative, no matter how much energy and how much effort I put into it, I simply couldn't open the door. Couldn't make any progress, and it felt like all of the energy I put into it had the same effect as putting no energy into it at all. And I know that you have felt that way about something, probably many things in your life, just like I have at one point or another. And I want to tell you that somewhere, and I don't actually remember the exact moment, but somewhere in this year, I thought of that door, and I thought, isn't that funny? The only thing I needed to open that door this whole time were these random, faceless, wonderful people on the internet. Like, that's That's it. That's what's going to open this door. They were the Yet. And I didn't even have to run out and try and acquire them or anything else. I could have spent all that time looking for the key and never found it. It had to come to me. So, you were the key that opened that door. And just like in real life, in the game, the character walked out the door in what I assumed was the place that would be spending the entire game, the entire life. Only to find out that the second you step outside, this game doesn't take place in a single location. There's a lot of places to go, and bridges to cross, and new environments to see. And this is my life as a video game. Quest number 1, load saved file. The other name for this quest is A Mysterious Stranger Appears. So the purpose of this game is to do deeds. Deeds are not quests. The purpose of this game is to do deeds and then send them off into the wild. Like you're raising a Pokemon, and then at a certain point you unleash it on this video game world, and it goes out there, and occasionally it returns back to you with, gold pieces or items or what have you, but you don't control that portion. You have to raise it as best as you can, and then you set it off effectively. So you do deeds, and deeds roll into other things, but let's focus on the deeds. Before this game started, there was another game in the series, and the knight character was already chosen. It was chosen back in the 2008 edition of this game. And of course, same basic premise of do deeds and release them. So this game, being a sequel, allowed you to load the saved file. Now, I skipped a few iterations of this game because I didn't have the energy in me to keep pushing against that door that wouldn't open. But I had noticed that in December, that's when all of a sudden, NPCs appeared, non-playable character. And they would say things like, this deed you did years and years ago, I really liked it. I wish you did more deeds. And this is, of course, bittersweet, because I'm lonely at that time of year, and they're obviously lonely at that time of year, but it's nice to hear that you touch somebody, even if they're just an NPC that you'll never meet and you'll never see. It's still nice. It's a nice feeling. But in December, there's a kind of weight to it that there's not if these NPCs should pop up another time of the year. And this time around, this December, a really interesting NPC appeared, a very mysterious stranger. And this stranger did not say the typical things. Typically, when these NPCs appear in this game, they want you to accept a quest. They want you to accompany them. They want you to be with them. Or simply do another deed in the same way. Like, hey, I love that deed you did. Here's a quest. Do 3 more deeds like that. Something like that. They make that clear, and there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, that helps you play the game. Helps you go forward. But this particular NPC, instead of saying anything that hinted at what they wanted, or any kind of quest, simply said in their own way that it's totally okay if I didn't do any more deeds, but it would be so lovely if I did. And just something about that compelled me. It rolled around in my head. And so for the first time in quite a while, I was compelled to do a deed in this game as quickly as I could, just to send it back, just to be appreciative of this person, of this NPC. And wouldn't you know it, but as soon as I did, as soon as I turned it in effectively, I got a quest complete. And it's been a long time since I accepted a quest, and I hadn't accepted this one. It was a hidden quest. And for the first time in a long time, compliments from these NPCs, the rewards, they were nice. But they didn't fill up the bar. And I'll talk more about that in a second. But they didn't fill up the CP bar. And not only did this one do it for some reason, but it also just started making the CP bar regenerate. So all of a sudden, I could play this game a lot faster. I could do a lot more deeds. And quests started looking a lot easier. So that officially begins January, when all of a sudden I really start playing this game again. A game I know very well, but not how it is anymore. So, there's a thing called CPs. They're called creative points. And everybody who plays this kind of game knows the system. You have so many creative points, and sometimes they just don't come back. Sometimes you have a status ailment like depression, or fatigue, or paralysis. And all of a sudden, your CPs aren't regenerating like they used to be, so you don't want to spend the ones you have. But even worse, sometimes everything can be just fine, and you spend your CPs, and it just doesn't feel very good. It doesn't feel like the quest reward was right. It's very frustrating. Almost everybody I know, everybody I've talked to who's played this game, has said the same thing. There is a well of CPs, there's a well of creative points, and it runs dry sometimes. It just runs dry. And that's the opposite of fun. That's the opposite of making progress. So to have this game kick off with not only getting a lot of creative points, but to get them without knowing you're going to get them, but then knowing that you have. That was a really good way to start this game. It made me feel powerful. It made me feel ready. Now that's going to get knocked out of me pretty quick here, and we'll talk about the bridge system in a moment. But the first, I want to say about 1/6 of this game is just spent shaking off the dust, like getting those reflexes back. You know, it's relearning the tricks. It's reacclimating to this game and looking at the game world overall and trying to come up with a plan. And it's so hard to come up with a plan because you don't know what's an effective strategy yet, or where the fun is, or even how big the game world is. But you gotta try and orientate yourself. So the first 2 months are largely just figuring that out. And looking at this bridge and going, I'm not ready for that. I'll talk about that just in a second. But looking at a bridge going, I'm not ready. So train, level up, train, level up, upgrade your equipment, get your skill back as a player. And then right around March, I say, okay, I've got I've got my CPs back. They're working. I'm leveled up. I'm ready for this fight. I know this fight's going to hurt me, but let's go to the bridge. So for those of you who don't know, this is now quest number 2, and bridges are very, very scary in this game. And there's a reason why, as far as I can tell, 1 out of 2 people who play this game never even try to cross a bridge. Not even the first one. And the reason being is that as soon as you cross a bridge, there are more powerful monsters on the other side. And so you know you're going to get hurt more, and you're going to get beat up more, and you're going to lose. I mean, you're going to lose. You're going to lose a lot if you cross that bridge. There's all these bad things that will happen to you if you cross that bridge, and only one possible good one. And it's not good enough, really. Not in and of itself. The only good thing that can happen if you cross the bridge is one day you can get powerful enough that it's like you didn't cross the bridge. Just think about that for a second. This is a game that's designed so that if I'm on one side of the bridge, I'm a god and I'm just punching the little bunny hop monsters, the little starting area monsters in their head, and I'm just getting more and more powerful, and it's easy and it's fun. And there's rewards. But if I cross that bridge, the best thing that can happen to me is I can be as relatively powerful to those monsters as I am to these ones. Whereas I am absolutely going to get thrashed and eaten and knocked out, and gold pieces are going to be stolen from me and all kinds of game over screens. So it's no wonder to me that you have to, that so many people don't cross the bridge. And then here's the worst part. You often have to spend this in-game currency that's so hard to come by. It's hard enough to come by time, but this in-game currency you often have to spend, all of these gold pieces that there's just not enough of. And you can use these gold pieces for anything, right? Like when you're in town playing this game, these gold pieces can do anything you want them to do. So the idea of investing them to get hurt more, it's so scary. It's so scary. So that's why the first 2 months were spent in that starting area. So the knight, he crosses the bridge. And it does not go well. Now, bridges, in addition to making sure that the monsters on the other side are more powerful, they also sometimes have a surprise mini-boss. And this bridge, it had one. It had a little ogre under the bridge, essentially. And this ogre was a really powerful ogre. This ogre, the game played a very clever trick here. The game looked at my character from 2008, and it said, oh, I know what this character is weak against. And so the game actually, this ogre, before we fight, the ogre actually goes, I know where you're weak, knight. And of course, I didn't know if that was true or not. But this ogre, you'd think, of course, an ogre is going to swing its big club at you or something. But this ogre, its attacks were all actually words. Can you believe it? So this ogre... this ogre looked at this new thing I was trying, and I had just tried it for the first time in March, where instead of doing a deed the way I typically did it, like I made these deeds ornate and I wrote them down, and I sent them off that way. But this particular deed was a new venture. It was a new venture. And of course, that's why I'm doing it to cross the bridge. And this ogre just whispered in my ear about what a fucking failure I must be. What a fucking failure I must be, and how bad this deed is, and how laughable it must be that I would ever try this. And it knocked me out. Knocked me out. Very effective strategy. So here I am, having spent all of this time and effort only to lose the level I had gained. And I had made all of this sacrifice the last 2 months to cross the bridge, and I didn't even get over it before an ogre from 2008 found me and said that I was just never gonna do any better. And this brings me to something else I've realized about people who play this game. Not only do half the people never try and cross the first bridge, but of the half that do, they only try it once or twice, and then they're done. And who could blame them? So now I have this realization that every time I'm going to try and cross this bridge, that ogre is going to have that attack queued up. Why wouldn't it? It's a oh, boom, hits me once and I'm down. It's a really good tactic. Of course, if I was an ogre that didn't want me to cross that bridge, I would have that ready. So I started smashing around in the starting area some more and beating up the little newbie enemies to get a level up. And I asked somebody else who played this game, somebody whose character was much, much more advanced than mine, if they had any advice. And they said, yeah, just remember, all these deeds you release, you have no idea when they're going to come back with like the perfect upgrade, you know? Sometimes they'll come back with the perfect sword or shield or something for your situation. So just keep doing deeds, don't worry about it. And I said, sure, that's great, you're amazing. And then as soon as the conversation was over, I was like, well, fuck that. I've been releasing deeds for like 20 years. I've been doing these deeds so well and so hard. That doesn't help me at all in my current situation. They've never come back with the legendary weapon. Maybe you have more points in the luck stat than I do, because that has never occurred to me. And I have released some deeds, conmigo. So instead, I just look and I say, maybe just for this game, I'm going to play it a little bit differently. Now, I don't know about you in talent trees, but when I look at a talent tree system when I'm first starting a game, I almost always go the safe route, right? I almost always go the talents that give you plus 15% attack instead of plus 35% attack when at half health. You know, I play it safe. I always seem to play it safe when I'm playing these games. And I said, let's just not do that. Let's just not be that orderly in just this one system, in this one way, this one time. So I reset my talents, and instead of getting all the beautiful perks that I normally get, instead I had an overall, at least on paper, weaker character, but I had just enough talent points to go up the riskier side of the tree and grab a talent called Indomitable Spirit. And I said, as the player, well, I don't think that's really going to work out. But then my character, the knight, said, yeah, but what if it does? Like, what if you've just been playing the game a little bit wrong this whole time? Because everything else is the same. You're still going to go the same places and open the same chests, and you're still going to do lots of deeds. But what if instead of making every deed this perfect safe thing, that you just go the risky side? So I was like, okay, character, if you say so, let's do it. Let's fight this ogre weaker, right? With less stats, let's fight this ogre weaker. This is going to go great. So I go back to cross this first bridge a second time, and the ogre is programmed, I would guess, to like really be happy with its first victory, because as soon as I do the second deed, boom, ogre appears, and it's like, ooh, like it's really into it. But this amazing thing happens. Of course, the ogre says the same things, but then it piles on, so it's an even worse attack, right? And the ogre talks about how just much they think it's astounding that I could try and play this game when they can look in any direction and see another character is doing so much better. Like that, it's amazing to this ogre. That's the extra level of this attack on top of all the you're worthless and this is a bad deed and you should feel bad as a person. But what the ogre didn't realize is that this indomitable spirit talent actually not only made me immune to the damage portion of this attack, but it also gave me kind of like a buff, like a bonus for the rest of the fight. And so the ogre goes down pretty easy because I get to unleash this kind of special attack. Because the ogre doesn't change tactics. It keeps just saying you'll never make it, and you're worthless, and you're awful. It's just, and then eventually, like, it saves up for a special attack called Spam Flurry, where it sent, instead of 1 or 2 emails, it actually sent 7. So I'm like, oh my god! But Indomitable Spirit, it just absorbed them all. And so I got to unleash a special attack called Who Fucking Cares? Now that doesn't sound like a great attack, but when you're being hurt, when you're in a dangerous encounter, not being hurt is amazing. It's amazing progress. And I realized that what I shouldn't say friend, but what my associate that I asked for advice said earlier was absolutely correct. Get past the ogres, cross the bridge, do as many deeds as you can, and that's it. Don't fucking care about anything else. So the ogre is collapsing, and after I say, who fucking cares what you think? The ogre goes, okay. It does that laugh again and goes, I'll be back. So I'm like, oh my god, am I going to fight this ogre like 20 times? Is this like one of those Final Fantasy things where this stupid villain comes back like 18 different times? No, I don't want that. Goodbye, ogre. I hope forever. But I get to the other side of the bridge. And the encounters are rougher. But the deeds are more fun, I guess I should say. They're more dynamic and interesting, and new deeds are opening up like every couple of levels, and the deeds are coming back with more, not the in-game currency that you use for everything, but like a sub-currency, like a collector's currency that you can trade in for really cool stuff. So it worked. You know, not playing it safe and going down the other side of the talent tree, going a little bit wild, it was a really good decision. It felt really good, and it feels really good still at the end of this. So my character's leveling up a lot, and again, we're in the weird side of this talent tree. And the talent tree, again, because it's so not how I'm used to playing the game, I'm just always unlocking stuff that I would never, ever imagine to unlock. And it's a lot of fun. And then I get to the second bridge to cross with all these new skills and all these new toys, essentially. And of course, the ogre is there. And the game now represents it like a kind of a Frankenstein ogre. It's kind of like stitched back together because I hurt him real bad in our first encounter. And the ogre says one simple thing, like the ogre has learned not to swing at me as hard with the email attack. It's a softer swing now. It's a more targeted swing. And the email simply has the name of another player character who's playing a totally different game than me, and just the simple message beneath it of, you will never have this. It shows me their in-game currency and all that, and it just looks so nice and so shiny. And it's such an effective attack, because this is not challenging me. This is simply saying, like, you're not going to have this. To somebody who has in the past made the terrible, terrible mistake of investing too much in things that can be measured, in the size of your player housing or the number of items in your inventory. So it hurt, because I want to play this game as well as I can, sure, but I also want to play it and have other people go, wow, he plays this game really well. And the second part's bad. The second part is not really very good. But if you ever find a way to not care about that second part, tell me how, because I'm still figuring it out. So it's an effective attack and it hurts, but it doesn't knock me out. So I realize that there's an option now in this fight. And maybe it was always there, or maybe it only appeared because of my weird new talents. But I realized that there was an option called Ignore Attack. So I press it, and sure enough, another attack comes. Same kind of thing. And I think that's really weird. I wonder if I press Ignore, if that'll happen again. And sure enough, another attack of the same kind comes. And I think that's interesting. But then something even more fascinating happens. Instead of it like hurting because I'm ignoring it, another new option just kind of pops up. And now, and it's just for this encounter, I can use the humor option. I can fight something that is hurting me with humor. Isn't that a noodle bender? So I press it. And I really press it a lot. I think a lot of people maybe watching the game from the outside wouldn't get it. The name of the attack is called Perfect Audio. And I think a lot of people out there don't get like how into this attack animation I was when it was actually happening. Like there was a kind of zen, because I let all of the hurt inside this character out. Like all the pain that they had suffered so far this game. I let it out in that one attack. And of course the ogre just collapsed. Frankly, the ogre exploded. There was no "I'll see you again." The game made it very clear this ogre is not reappearing, and they didn't. This whole time they should have been a troll and not an ogre. What was I thinking? Anyway, I mean, bridge and also being mean to me personally. What was I thinking? Okay, so like the ogre explodes, but not only does the ogre explodes, but another hidden quest pops up. And it just says unburdened. And now for the rest of this game, not only do I gain a little bit more CPs, just regenerate them naturally, but I also, I don't know, releasing deeds sometimes really hurts. And it just hurt a little bit less. So this is the second, oh wow, this is an amazing quest perk that just kind of happened. I wasn't seeking it. It just came to me. Just playing the game as I was trying to, and it was so nice. So, a little bit after this, I guess to get like the story on track, the game sent a little fairy, just a little boop, fairy appears, and the fairy says, and this is a direct quote here. Your voice is nice. But women don't want to listen to you read things. They want to hear you get off and talk to them. Just them, only them. And I don't know what it was. And then the fairy vanished. Never to be heard from again. I don't know what it was about this fairy, but I was like, okay, fairy, we'll do it your way. We'll try it your way. So, I said, okay, knight, we're going to do these different kinds of deeds this different way now. And it did not go very well, right? I have all these talents. They're all in the knightly way. And now I'm like, knight, put away your lance and pull out a sword. And I don't have the sword skill, right? So this is some bad news. It doesn't go well at all. It's a good thing that the spirit wasn't abominable, because let me tell you, otherwise it would have been game over real quick here. Um, I tried as hard and fast as I could to get these sword skill up, and thank God that did work. I know that you want me to make a joke about one-handed, but it's been done to death, all right? So it's not going to happen. So the first encounter with the next bridge over, because there's no boss on that bridge, thank goodness. But it was bad, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was real bad. I crossed that bridge too soon or something. Cause every encounter, KO. Um, but I keep trying at it, and eventually I was like, you know what? I know you're a knight. I know you're a knight character, but I'm just gonna pretend you're a fucking cowboy. And wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what I needed to do on the other side of that bridge. And that allowed me to go ahead and just get the ball rolling. There's just something so nice after you cross a bridge and after you deal with that difficulty and have made that decision. There's something nice about that ball getting rolling. It rewards the whole of me. Maybe I'm too egotistical as a player, I don't know. But when I realize that things are finally going to continue in the direction that they're going, a good direction, there is a sense of zen and peace about me. So, we can probably skip forward a little bit. This is some Act 2 stuff in a story. This is some. If this was A Knight's Tale, the movie, this is where we see lots and lots of jousts very quickly. It's the montage sequence of a lot of stories. So I cross a bridge. Oh no, there's difficulty. But wait! I could do that like another 8 times, but I think you've got the idea. What happens somewhere around the middle of the year playing this game is something amazing. See, up until this point, I've gone a place, I've tried to slay the dragon or whatever, I've taken whatever quests interested me, frankly, and then I did deeds and released them into the wild. But rather accidentally, because I have gone to, not accidentally, sorry, unexpectedly. Rather unexpectedly, I have gone to all of these villages and done their quests and then moved on and tried to cross the next bridge. And it was starting to really, really wear on me. There is an inherent, for my character, because they wear such heavy armor, there is an inherent CP cost to traveling. So you can imagine you don't want to travel as much as possible playing this character class. You don't want to spend your CPs going to a place and going, does anybody have a quest? That's what he sounds like. He's a real jerk. He's a real tool. So, yeah, just rather accidentally, unexpectedly, I go towards the next little dot on the overworld map that represents this is a town and a quest hub and all that. And I get there, and there's just a signpost. There's just a signpost. When I transition from the overworld into the actual village itself, quote unquote, it's just a signpost. And the signpost reads, your settlement here. And that's it. And that is not useful to somebody who plays the game on the safe side of the talent tree. It's not useful at all. What does that mean? And there's a couple of starter materials and all that kind of thing. And there's a guide that nobody reads because it's 1 billion pages long. And also, to get the full guide, you have to spend like 20 in-game currency. Fuck that. but there's this promise that you can build your own settlement. So I do. I was like, okay. So instead of releasing deeds to the wild, what you can now do instead in this game is release them here in this place. Let's just call it Tumblr. You can name your settlement. I'm going to name it Tumblr. I'm going to put an E in there because I'm dyslexic. So, I called my settlement Tumblr, and instead of releasing deeds, I put them in the settlement, which, according to the guides, a cursory glance means that the settlement should start building. Instead of running around and getting things, they'll build your settlement. So I put like 25 deeds into the settlement. Like, I'm not being stingy. I put them in. And guess what? I come back after going to the next quest hub, and there is nothing. Nothing. No, like I was, in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm going to come back and there's going to be a castle. There's going to be NPCs. This is going to be awesome. Nothing. Not a single NPC. What? What is that? Surely you jest, author of this game. There must have been at least one NPC in May of this year. No. No, not a single NPC in my settlement in all of May of 2015. Not one follower. So like I said earlier, it's a real good thing I chose that talent, Indomitable Spirit, because this is some dominable bullshit right here. This is the thing that makes people never, ever, ever try and cross a bridge. Not only that, but at the starting place, let's just call it the cloud, the sound cloud. That sounds really cool. NPCs are not coming quickly at all. We're at like 45, and you can tell that some of them are not NPCs that are going to help out when you go home and have that final conflict one day. Like, they're like if you press the action button to them, they're like, follow me for more followers. And then that's all they say, right? Like, it's not like, good job. It's like, it's like, follow me for 10,000 plays. And thank goodness that SoundCloud's kind of open, so you can see that I have not followed anybody, essentially, at all. So the temptation was there, though, let me tell you. But I try and play games virtuously as well as I can, so that when I fuck up, I don't go total dark side. So, I had these dreams in my head because the deeds were collecting more and more currencies, and things were kind of on a roll. I'd come back and the Tumblr settlement would be popping, but it is literally abandoned, and all of the deeds are sitting there like really embarrassed, like they're like, because they do an animation, they do a work animation, and it's like they wouldn't stop doing them or make eye contact. The deeds are just all like, dude, we totally promise, just keep going, and this will be so success, dude. Like, I swear to you, like, you're this close to Mithril. Like, this is. Oh my God, guys, this is gonna be so. Let me just do my little sprite hammer the ground animation nonstop. But you just keep putting deeds here. It'll come. It'll be amazing. Don't worry. And thank goodness I don't know what happened or what changed, but an NPC appeared, and then 2 or 3 more, and then a few more. And then while I was taking a break from the game, and watching some Game of Thrones, I got a weird little email notification that said something that I never expected to see before, but the game said, your settlement has 7 new NPCs. And I was like, 7 new NPCs? What? Because I had, while I was doing my stuff, I wasn't really I guess in my mind, I was like, of course, this is just another, failure. This is just another part of the game where I just lose. It's another part of the game that I don't play. It's a mini game that's just not ever going to be mine. So to come back and to see that the settlement actually has like 50 people in it, I'm like, hold on a minute. This is this this is what happened? So, I mean, I think you guys pretty much get what happens with the Tumblr settlement in game. We can talk about it a little bit, but basically, like, it becomes a game changer for me. I can now do quests from home, essentially, my little settlement. I don't have to spend so many CPs to travel. Um, and while I sit in my little nightly chair, NPCs come up and they go, which translates to various quests and requests and what have you. And here's the great thing, right? When you're doing quests in other people's settlements, you have to do them to progress the game. Like the game's like, do this quest. There's no yes, no. But when you say to your own NPCs, like, I'm not really going to do that, or maybe later, your NPCs are like, sure. And then they walk away. And then everything's fine. And all of this pressure is taken off. And guess what happened? Sudden quest perk. Yes, unburdened level 2. Regenerate CPs faster. Feel better. So, like, the game is really changed, and also like snowballing, because now the settlement gets to a certain point, and I want to say it was somewhere around 500 NPCs, where if you release a deed to help build your settlement, it then just started going out into the world as well. It would like build your settlement a little bit and then go out and then come back and build your settlement and then go out. So all of a sudden, every deed has this possibility of being magical, just being magical. And of course, that's very exciting. And as a player, it makes you want to make more deeds. It makes you want to make the NPCs you have happy. And you can do it all from your settlement that gets a little bit bigger every day. Like, that's so rewarding. I know how lucky it is that I was able to cross these bridges and get here, and I know that not every player gets that. And I understand how much it must look like to people just starting out this game who say, oh, look at you in this first year, you got this settlement, that's amazing. And they don't see that I've been playing this game, legitimately playing this game for 15 years. They don't see that I have crossed so many bridges and been killed by so many ogres and frankly trolls, because why can't I seem to figure that out? But they don't see that. They just see this 1 year of this settlement going so well, and they're like, well, that's not how it works in my game. And I don't blame them at all. I mean, I don't blame them at all. But it's very different than people think. Like, they got to this point in the game and they go, well, there's no settlement option for me. You're just lucky. Just like I said earlier in my starting zone about the guy who was getting good shit from his deeds. But it's not luck. I'm lucky, but it's not luck. That's not the stat that made this an option. I believe to the core of me, however lucky I can get sometimes, and I do, and I am. It was just endurance. And so many little NPCs out there have brought me unknowingly, truly unknowingly, just these little vials that restore endurance and heal wounds and restore creative points. And for the first time in my life, bring me the occasional token item that increases maximum CP. Oh my God, I didn't even know that item existed. And here it is being brought to me in this place where I feel so safe and secure and already blessed to have. And I understand blessed may be a strong word for some of you, but I can only see it as blessing and a boon. And hopefully, even though I'm just talking about a video game, hopefully you can hear in my voice that I am so blessed to have this game settlement that grows and rewards. Sorry, I got a little bit carried away there. So needless to say, as somebody who's played various games in the past and not had it go so great, that, I mean, I pretty much abandoned everything. I mean, every side quest and everything else, and just said, oh my god, settlement expand. This is amazing. Like, and it only becomes more and more rewarding. That's the thing that I think people probably don't understand, is it doesn't ever become rote. Maybe it will one day, maybe it won't, but it doesn't ever become mechanical. It becomes more fun. It becomes more fun. It's not like bowling, where it's just you throwing a ball over and over. It's like league bowling. And now there's rivalries and teams and things that you know are going to happen at certain times. And oh my God. For instance, something that's just unlocked recently that I've talked about before is now there's this achievement system. And I never would have thought at the beginning of this year, never, gun to my head, if you had asked me if I would ever not only be producing lots of work, but I would try and get some achievement points with them. Oh, Delati, would I have been mean to you. It just would have hurt too much to even think of something that good happening to me. So, now there's like this achievement system, and there's this, there's this rumor like an NPC now comes by once a week. He's kind of like an old codger NPC. And he that's how it sounds when he's giving his dialogue, and he goes, rumor says that there's an old gold mine beneath the settlement. It's filled with ghosts. I don't like ghosts. But it's like, there's a gold mine down there? Wait, you mean that this game could get fucking better? Are you fucking shitting me? We have not started putting points into the gold mine portion of the settlement, but just the fact that it could be there, who knows? It's amazing. It makes you want to keep playing, doesn't it? So, now that we're in this kind of settlement stage of the game, one thing that happens occasionally is that NPCs now come not only not bearing quests or bearing items, right? Because that's how every NPC interaction began at the beginning of this year. But now they come and they just offer things. They offer to expand the settlement in some way. And I wanted to give out a shout out to some of these NPCs in no particular order. These are all like things that you can't really imagine a game offering you until they come around. And I thought maybe it would be best if I didn't say some specifics, but I think you're going to know who you are if I list you here. So, shout out to the magician who conjures up all these wonderful images when I could use them, and who helps me in pretty much any quest where I leave the settlement. If I need a travel companion, I can always count on you, magician, because you and your illusions are invaluable. Shout out to the trader NPC, who just appeared fairly recently and is not somebody that I have the most personal relationship with, of course, because we've just met. But shout out to the trader who came with all these like ledgers and pieces of information in something that a knight character simply is not very well versed in. I'd like to think that my character has a pretty good sense of business acumen, but when it comes to marketing and selling oneself and beating down doors, my character stinks. My character is no good at these things. My character literally cannot self-promote. It is a grayed out option. It is not selectable. Self-promote doesn't fly. So shout out to the trader who brought all of these ledgers and skill books and everything else that taught me how to make the settlement grow faster without having to do things, without having to do the things that everybody else said I had to, and I simply can't. Simply do not have the CP for. My CP bar is not as big as other people's. I just use it better. Yes, that was intentional. Okay, all right. Let's see here. I did want to also just randomly, not, oh my God, I keep saying randomly when I don't mean to. I did also want to thank not a particular person, but just rather a class of NPC that I call Ladies of the Night. Anybody can call theirself a Lady of the Night, and I'll be very happy to back them up. You like me, I like you. But I'm talking about the ones who have simply sent little messages that said something like, go on, or I love what you do, or something like that. The ones who say, please take time off, or this is my new favorite piece. Everybody who gets lucky enough to get to the settlement stage of this game, everybody wishes that they had my NPCs. And I am not exaggerating at all. There is an in-game mail system in this game, and occasionally, of course, I will correspond with somebody else who is at the settlement stage of this game. And almost every last one of them has asked what I did to get my NPCs to be so amazing. And the answer is nothing. Even though I don't have a very large luck stat, I simply lucked out, and I simply have the most amazing NPCs at my settlement that anybody could ever ask for, and I keep finding new mathematical evidence of this all the time, typically without even looking for it. It's just, it finds me. So, that pretty much sums up the state of this year in the game. But that's just kind of a lousy way to end a game, right? It sounds so good. Why do you want to keep playing? Everything is just going great. Like, yeah, there's no real dramatic tension or anything, right? So there's kind of this dramatic shift. Very last second. I talked about going back to SoundCloud for the final battle or something. Well, I was wrong. What nobody told me was going to happen is that the settlement that I'm in now, that for all the blessings it gives you, there is a drawback. And the drawback is, and the game does not make this clear, but the drawback is that as the settlement grows, and as it appears on more and more maps, that monster camps and kind of armies of monsters, frankly, start becoming aware of it. And I mean, I really don't mean to tease this because I don't know what's going to happen in the game in the next year. But what I can say is towards the very end of this year, all of a sudden, instead of it being personal, like the ogre on the first bridge, instead of it being that kind of, we've read your game profile and we're going to attack you, now the settlement is just occasionally attacked by a troll or two. And it's not a big deal. It's a big settlement. We're there's like 2,000 of us now. And even if there wasn't, I mean, I fucking kick some trolls' ass, it's not a big deal that there's a troll or two. Here's the problem. The last troll that I fought, who came into the settlement, he was a little bit ominous. He was a troll in a black cloak, and he was a very interesting little NPC, because the last troll, I can't tell you, I mean, I'm sure you know this, the way that you fight trolls is to use that ignore option that developed on bridge number 2. This last troll, after I ignored him, said, I go away now. Very weird. Trolls typically don't announce that they're going. This troll did. He said, I'm leaving now. But just so you know, there will be so many more like me. What? Dramatic tension! Oh, so there's going to be like some Miras Tirith action or something in 2016 or something. It's going to be amazing. There's going to be troll wars. Don't you want to be part of the troll wars? Oh, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to have to, when I do the, I have no idea how to video gameize this, but when I do the live streams, the leaderboards, I don't know how to make that. I'm going to have to like promote more people for the troll fighting. Like, I'm going to have to upgrade NPCs, equipment and stuff so that they can help me fight trolls. Troll wars coming soon, possibly. So that's just it. The troll faded away. The ominous cloak remained, of course, with eerie smoke. And that's when I got an in-game message from another player character somewhere. And it said simply, "Your prince is in another castle." And all I could think was, does that mean I have to... What does that mean? Does that mean I have to leave the settlement? Does that mean that the settlement can, like, fly or move like in fucking Final Fantasy VI? Like, what's going to happen here? Don't know. Maybe it's just a fake message, but who knows? That more or less is going to close us out. The game for 2016 is obviously what made 2015 so much fun. The 2016 edition is I'm just having the time of my life with the settlement, and I'm not going to talk about the NPCs again, because then you'll hear me tear up, and it's very silly to cry about a video game. But that's it. I am having so much fun playing this game. And again, I have so much trouble asking for help. But because it is just a game, and because it does help the knight who is in it, below this sound file is a link to an out-of-sight, an out-of-game reference called Patreon. And if you can, don't spend in-game currency that you don't have. If you could donate to that, there is no better way to tell me to keep playing or to tell me to keep going and to make yourself the most known NPC in the court. Because let me assure you, anybody who donates, I immediately I immediately see them in game a very different way. So please, if you can, please consider giving to that Patreon. It just helps me play the game more and harder, and I don't want to use it forever, but I do want to use it for 2016. So please consider giving. If you do not want to give to a campaign that goes on over and over again, I couldn't blame you less. There will be, in the near future, an opportunity to do like a one-time thing that will help me out tremendously. And there won't be a 70-minute special to lead into that either. In the meantime, I'm going to say it one last time because I feel that I don't take advantage of you guys in the game the way that a lot of other player characters do. It's the end of the year. It's the last chance. It's been an amazing year. If you can, please give. It will help me produce more and better work in 2016 than I did in 2015. It will make it a much better game. And I will have a much better time playing it, no matter if you do or don't, and that's the truth. So thank you for being part of my little settlement, and I am going to do everything I can, absolutely everything in my player character power, to expand the settlement, to build a little empire, and to make it all just as good, if not better, and more fun than everything so far. Just as good, if not better. I promise you that that is my goal. So, from the guy who controls the guy that you like so much, thank you. You're amazing. And I hope you'll continue to watch me play the game. Sometimes I have no idea why, because there's so many other people out there playing this game so much better than me. So just know that I'm really honored that you do, and that you have fun. And I hope that I continue playing this game in a way that you appreciate on a personal level. Thank you again, and Happy New Year.